show that's 3 dimensions away from Joker Folie à Deux being called Joker 2. I'm your host 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Joker Folie à Deux, released in 2024. Joker Folie à Deux is a sequel to Joker that came out in 2019. The movie is once again directed by Todd Phillips and is written by Todd Phillips and Scott Silver once again. And the movie once again stars Joaquin Phoenix, and this time around is a newcomer. Lady Gaga stars as the wonderful Harley Quinn. And of course, the movie also stars Zazie Beetz and Brandon Gleeson. I am a huge fan of the Joker character. I love Joker. I love the first one. The first Joker movie is a fantastic movie. And the movie is about basically, the first Joker movie was about Arthur Fleck, who's pushed around and everything, to where eventually he embraced the mask and became the character we all love to hate, the Joker. And then, of course, after this one picks up about 4 years later, and he's in a basically Arkham Asylum. And basically, he's basically what happened is he's in trying to, he has a lawyer and everything, and he's basically trying to, has to go to court and everything because he's going on trial to see if he's competent to stand trial because Harvey Dent is trying to put him in prison because he is competent to stand trial because he murdered 5 people. And he's trying to give him the death penalty, and so he's basically trying to deal with that situation while also being abused by these prison guards. And on top of that, he finds love in Harley Quinzel, played by Lady Gaga. I will say this: I love the first one. The first one I love. The first one is a perfect movie. I give it an A+ because it deserves an A+. And yes, the movie made $1 billion, and it got Joaquin Phoenix Best Oscar, and it won a bunch of Oscars and everything else, and it deserves it. Was nominated for a bunch. I did not like this as much. I will say there are things I do like about it, and I know that this movie has been getting shit on like crazy. I know people have been saying this is the worst piece of shit I have ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I don't think that's a fair. I mean, I've seen much worser movies. Honestly, I would rather watch this than the Flash movie any day. I watch this and I'm like, this is a much better movie than The Flash. Or, I would even say half of what the DC movies that I've seen. I've seen all of them. And I'm like, I would say this is 10 times better than, Catwoman or, Jonah Hex, or Steel. I mean, I feel like people are just, blowing this out of proportion by saying, oh, it's this bad. I will say, I was a little disappointed because I was hoping it would be Arthur Fleck breaking out of prison with Harley Quinn and them going on a murderous rampage and him embracing the character. And by the end of the movie, he'll have a purple suit on. This was stage 1. The first movie was stage 1 Joker. This is fully embraced Joker. That was proto Joker. This is fully Joker. Him in the purple suit with the cut hair and or maybe he falls into a vat of chemicals. And I was just thinking, sky's the limit with this. But look. I understand that Todd Phillips wanted this to be realistic. And I do understand that he didn't want to do the fantastical side. I understand, when you make a movie about a DC character, the best stories are the ones that are not fantastical. I know people say, some people say, we want fantastical Joker. We want fantastical Batman. I think honestly, if you can relate to this character in a real world scenario, if he is literally just a terrorist with war paint on his face, that makes him more dangerous. That's why Heath Ledger's Joker is so much more dangerous than the one Jack Nicholson's Joker in Dark Knight or Jared Leto's Joker in the Suicide Squad movie. I mean, this Joker is terrifying because of those reasons. This Joker, you can relate to him because you understand, it was kind of they adapted The Killing Joke into a film. And so with this movie, I was just okay, so this is basically Mad Love. The first, Joker was Killing Joke. This is Mad Love. It's not really Mad Love. I would say it's really, the best way to describe Joker Folie à Deux is basically One Flew Under the Cuckoo's Nest meets Sucker Punch. Yes, Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch meets Singing in the Rain meets Miracle on 34th Street. Or maybe another movie, whatever. But there's another. I'm sure there's another movie somebody will point out in the comments. No, it's about this courtroom movie right here. I'm sure there's another courtroom movie. That I'm sure I'm blinking on at the moment. But I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell me, no, it's this courtroom drama that was based on. But yeah, it's basically it's 60% an asylum film, with 40% of it being a courtroom drama, and the rest of and through the whole entire movie is musical elements. And I took my father to see this movie because we went and saw in 2019 the first Joker together, and he didn't care for that one as much, but I loved it. But then this one, he said, "This is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. Don't you ever fucking take me to see a movie like this again." I didn't know it was, which I did know it was a musical, but I'm like, I didn't know. I was like, I didn't know it was a musical. But I'm just thinking, I was expecting it to be this, like, for someone to say, "Oh, it's not a musical." Bull fucking shit. It is a musical, okay? It is a full-fledged fucking musical, okay? Like, it is not like 3 songs. No, it is literally a musical. Like, there is so many songs in this movie, and the sad thing is, all the songs could be work, but the fact is, and I understand what they were going for, it's in Arthur's head. He sees it because when he goes to music class, that's when he starts to see the music in his. It's almost like, I'm trying to go to High School Musical here, but it's like in High School Musical 2 when Zac Efron, and they're like playing, "You are the music in me." It's like that. But literally, figuratively in his head. And so when I was watching this, every time it would go to a musical, I'm like, oh God, here we go again. And there's like only 2 musical numbers that I actually was enjoying. Like the one where Arthur's in court and he's singing like embracing the Joker. That is a good song. And then there's one other song that I forget that I'm like, this I could get behind too. But everything else in the movie is just like, and the worst part is, they sing out of tune. Like, so basically, you have 2 people who won awards for singing. Joaquin Phoenix literally won an award for music for Johnny Cash and Walk the Line, where he sung all Johnny Cash's songs himself and won those awards. Lady Gaga's a musician who has won many, many, many Emmys, or Grammys. I'm sure it's Grammys. Sorry. And so I'm like, come on. You would think Lady Gaga, who is a born musician, and Joaquin Phoenix, who has won awards for singing, would literally be perfect in this song. I would be less offended if it didn't have the fact that there were awful singers. Even Lady Gaga said in interviews she had to literally change her voice tune to make it sound awful, and she hated that. And I'm like, I agree. It's awful that you have to sound like you can't sing. I mean, seriously, I was so embarrassed. I'm like, it would be better if they could sing like they actual sing, like, because I mean, Joaquin Phoenix can sing in real life. We've heard him sing. Lady Gaga can sing in real life. Hell, Joaquin Phoenix has a rap album. I'm just saying, like, come on. And I mean, you couldn't let Joaquin Phoenix just sing for a few minutes. And by the way, there are things I do like in this movie. I know I'm criticizing it, but there are things in this movie I do like. Like, I like when he's sitting in the courtroom. The whole courtroom stuff I did like. When you have Harvey Dent here, and it even foreshadows Two-Face at the end, because the movie, literally, the whole movie is like, literally, they're like saying, "Oh, Arthur, you did this, and you did this," and he literally, like, at first, like, he's like just trying to be Arthur Fleck, but then when everybody wants him to embrace the Joker, especially Harley Quinn, he embraces the Joker. And then, like, where he has like some of the best courtroom stuff when he's in Joker makeup, just doing horrible things, like just saying horrible things to people. It's just like, it's great. I'm like, that's great. But then whenever he's literally at the end, he's like, "I don't want to be Joker anymore," I'm like, come on, which I understand why. Like, there's a scene where, like, this little guy who was in the first one, who he killed the big guy and then let the little guy was telling him he was traumatized and everything. Like, he says, like, "I thought you were coming to kill me after you killed Murray Franklin, and I was hiding at the police station the whole time," and everything, because, like, he said, "I can't sleep, I can't go to work," he said, "I'm just so scared." And I think by that point, Arthur realizes his actions have consequences, that, yeah, this idea of the Joker is just going to put more people's lives in danger. So he decides not to be the Joker anymore, where he's like, I don't want to be this character, because this character is an evil monster that, just gets off on wreaking havoc and chaos. And so he doesn't want to be that. He just wants to be Arthur. He's like, I don't care if they sentence me to death. I don't care, whatever. I just don't want to be the Joker. I don't want to be this character. And so basically, he inspires basically the Jokers, like, basically the idea of the Joker out there, to where people just want to kill. Like, someone blows up the fucking courthouse and then he just escapes, and then, like, all this all these like goons are like, go on, get in the car and everything, and then he escapes because he wants to be with Harley, but Harley's like, I wanted the Joker. This was all a fantasy. I don't want you. And then Harley just basically just like lets them go to the police and everything. And it turns out Harley was like an inmate, but she's not really an inmate. Like that's what I thought was kind of like, I thought it was clever, but also kind of dumb. Where it's like more clever than dumb, but like I thought it was dumb where it was like, okay, so apparently she is a therapist, like she literally is a doctor, just like in the comics, and but then like she was fascinated by Joker, which just happens in the comics. But she wanted to go undercover, checked herself in, so she could basically, because she was fascinated by Joker, and so she could get under his skin and be inspired. And she was living this fantasy where she was basically like, she keeps telling him, "We're gonna build empires, we're gonna build monuments, and everything else," and and basically when he doesn't want to do that, she basically says, "Fuck you," and she even lets him fuck him, which that is so sad shit. Wherever he like, is he? It's like 3 seconds sexy. It's so sad. I was like, I was laughing. I was like, only 3 seconds, man? Come on, try again, man. 3 seconds. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm like, what the hell? Uh, yeah, and so I mean, there was just like that, and the movie. I will say, whenever like it's just the fantasy of like him singing, Harley singing together, that's where I kind of get lost, and especially there are times where he's just singing and it's just like walking into a courtroom, or he's shaving and he's singing, and or like she's walking into the courtroom, and I'm like, I don't care about this. I want to just, and like whenever like Brandon Gleeson is like this cop who abuses Arthur, who is like, whenever he gives him like, oh, tell us a joke, Joker, and then gives it, and then he like basically gives him a cigarette, and then he tries to pat him on the back, and Joker, and they pop Joker upside the head. That's what I was like, oh damn, this dude is a piece of shit. And I was like, I hope he gets his comeuppance, and I hope he kills him at the end. And instead, nothing happens to him, and I'm like, that kind of sucked, because I'm like, man, I would wish he would kill this piece of shit, And instead, nothing happens to him. And then on top of it, I do like that Harvey Dent gets kind of his comeuppance when I blow up the courtroom and disfigure Harvey's face. I thought that was great. And I like how he was escaped, but I kind of wish, I was like, it was so stupid, because I was me and my dad were like, why would he go back to the frickin' his old house? Because that's the first place the cops are going to look. And of course, that's what happens. I'm like, that's so dumb. And I just think that, and also some people, I know a lot of people criticize the ending because they think it's so dumb that Joker would just like, some guy just shanks him, tells him a joke, shanks him, and then carves his own face, a smile on his face. So basically, this guy's the real Joker. I don't see it that way. I see it as the idea of the Joker lives on. So basically, even though it's kind of like in Saw, how Jigsaw's dead, but yet his work will continue as Jigsaw. It's kind of like that, where even though the Joker is dead, the idea of the Joker, everybody that the idea will still be around, to where always there will be a Joker out there in the shadows lurking to cause havoc for Gotham. That's kind of the idea, you know. And I kind of thought that was beautiful in a way, but I thought it was also kind of crazy, but it was beautiful. And I do like the fact that, I do like the idea of this movie. I just wish if you would have got rid of the musical elements, and I kind of wish they would have just made it not about, like, if it would have been more about the courtroom and less, like 20% in the asylum, and then about 40% in the courtroom, and then the rest him in the real world, would have been a much better story. Or, and I've some people saying, why don't just, like, Harley Quinn basically has no arc in this movie. She's just like a side character to be like, to help Arthur, like, oh, your Joker, hype him up, his hype man. And like, it would have been greater to see her arc of her rising up as Harley Quinn. Instead, she just basically only she's in a lot of the movie and like a lot of the fantasy parts, but she's not really in the movie. She really has nothing to do except for just to support him. And I think that was kind of bummed out, because I'm like, you're expecting her to be mad. I mean, she kills him in the fantasy world at the end. When Arthur gets shanked, I thought it was cool how it transitioned from his fantasy is dying to he's dying in the real world where Harley kills him. I thought that was beautiful, but at the same time, it's like kind of pointless, because she didn't really love you. She was just like the idea of you, and I mean, just that kind of bummed me out a little bit. And then on top of it, there was a bullshit like thing in the movie where they're interviewing Zazie Beetz' character, who was like his fantasy girlfriend in the first movie, who he kept fantasizing about. And then she tells like the whole court all the stuff that the mom told her about Arthur and stuff. To where I was like, bullshit. She would not tell you all this stuff. Like, I believe the first part of it, like saying, oh, he has schizophrenia or whatever, like he's split personality disorder or whatever. I believe that part, but her saying, oh, all this stuff happened, you tell him all this stuff. I'm like, That is such bullshit. I just didn't believe that aspect of it. But I did enjoy this movie overall, and I would definitely rewatch it again. If I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it a solid B plus. Thank you so much.